सेशन की जो घोषणा जो हुई थी उससे पहले डिप्टी चेयरमैन साहब शुरू करो।
यस प्लीज।
ये घोषणा जब हुई थी उससे पहले हमारी पार्टी ने ये मांग किया था कि डॉक्टर अंबेडकर के 125वीं जन्म शताब्दी पर आप एक स्पेशल सेशन बुलाइए ताकि कुछ नए कानून जो हमारे हिसाब से जरूरी है उन कानूनों को लागू करें। अभी हमारे मित्र शरद यादव जी ने बड़े विस्तार से बताया वो पूरे आंकड़े, जिस तरीके से यह हालत क्या है अपने दलितों की और उनकी जो आरक्षण की बात जो हुई थी उसको मैं दोहराना नहीं चाहता। लेकिन आज ही देखिए सिर्फ आरक्षण का ही सवाल नहीं है, लेकिन उनके ऊपर जो हमले हो रहे हैं उसके भी आंकड़े अब देखिए। यही सरकार जो आंकड़े जो बताए दलितों के ऊपर 2014 में जब से ये सरकार आई 19% हमले जो है वो बढ़े। दलितों के ऊपर 2015 में हम खुद देख चुके हैं फरीदाबाद में, अहमदनगर में जिस तरीके के अत्याचार दलितों के ऊपर हुए। तो सवाल यहाँ पे ये है सर कि कानून जो है आज हमारे हाथ में, उनको मजबूत करना, नए कानून लाना, और उसके चलते हुए हमने कहा था कि 10 नए कानूनों की जरूरत है, जिसके अंदर पहला जो ये निजीकरण जो हो रहा है हमारे अर्थव्यवस्था में उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए आपके शिक्षा में और आपके रोजगार में जो आरक्षण का प्रावधान आपने दिया था पब्लिक सेक्टर के लिए उसको आप बढ़ाकर प्राइवेट सेक्टर में ले आइए। प्राइवेट सेक्टर के अंदर ये आरक्षण हो, इसके बारे में चर्चा तो हो, कानून बने। हम ये चाह रहे थे कि स्टैट्यूटरी स्टेटस मिले SC ST सप्लायंस के लिए। हम ये चाह रहे थे कि रिजर्वेशन जो है आज वो प्रोफेशनल और हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस में हो। हम ये चाह रहे थे कि नेशनल मिशन फॉर इरेडिकेशन ऑफ अनटचेबिलिटी जो बताए अभी, जो आप जो है यहाँ पर जो पार्लियामेंट के अंदर जो कर्मचारियों की जो हालत है, जो हमारे जो सफाई शरद जी ने बताया, मैं उसको दोहरा, एक नया कानून की जरूरत है कि ये इसको दुरुस्त करना है देश से। So what we wanted was all the enactment of certain legislation on the basis of which we can carry forward the vision of social justice that Dr. Ambedkar stood for. Now instead, sir, we have a situation where the government has come forward saying that we reaffirm our faith on the Constitution. Where is the question of reaffirming? You are here, I am here, all of us are here on an oath over this Constitution. What is this drama of reaffirming? If the Constitution is not there, you won't be here. The government of the day must know. The leader of the House is not here now, but he should know that he is here only because we affirm this Constitution. What is this question of now saying we will reaffirm? And what is this Constitution Day, sir? Go through the history. 26th of November, this Constitution was signed by the President of the Constituent Assembly, was voted upon, and the draft was adopted. And in the draft you have said explicitly that on the 26th of January, India shall be a republic. When in 1950, when this draft will turn into a constitution and we shall enact. Can this government answer? I want our esteemed lawyers, the leader of the House, to tell us what law governed India from 26th of November 1949 to 26th of January 1950? Was it this constitution? Is it none, sir? The law that governed India during those 2 months after you adopted this constitution was India Independence Act 1947, moved by the British Prime Minister Attlee in the House of Commons in London. What is this constitution there then? You were under the British law for these 2 months. You adopted and enacted this constitution on the 26th of January. Now, what is this new thing that we are finding now in 65 years later, a Constitution Foundation Day? You please explain to me, sir. You are sitting on the chair, maybe you have greater knowledge, but you please explain to me that when Dr. Sahab Ambedkar himself says that on 26th of January we are enacting this Constitution and we shall be a republic. What is this 26th November? Yes, that day the Constituent Assembly voted and adopted this draft. But that was not Indian Constitution yet. That was not the law of our land yet. Law of the land became It became the law of the land on the 26th of January 1950. Lawyers talking like this, sir. Constitution Foundation Day. You want some day or the other to find yourself so that you can celebrate one more event. The Constituent Assembly met again on the 24th and 25th of January 1950. The Jana Gana Mana as our national anthem was adopted on the 24th of January. And on the 24th and 25th, all members of the Constituent Assembly signed this constitution. And on the 26th of November, only 15 out of the 395 clauses in our constitution came into operation. 26th of January 1950 was when the entire constitution came into operation. So what is this new item that we have, sir? Item song, whatever you may call it, but a new item now in the Indian constitution. No, you see, the senior leader of the ruling party, a senior leader has described our Prime Minister, charitable or uncharitable, I don't know, it's up to their party to decide, that he called him an excellent event manager. One event after another. London after that, Malaysia, ASEAN, after that Constitution Day, and from tomorrow it will be Paris. An old film in my youth, when they showed us Paris ke Range Nishan, I mean, that will be the event from tomorrow. I'm not saying it, so that he doesn't say he'll explain me. But I don't know. I don't know in this way. So what is this event to event? What are we observing, sir? I'm sorry, but I think the entire, what in Hindi we call garima, of this house, of the parliament is being undermined by these sort of flippant events that are coming in.
And even of the constitution.
Of course, that's why, 26th of November, yes, we have the highest respect for Dr. Ambedkar, for everybody else. Does this government today know? Constituent Assembly began its work on a resolution moved by Jawaharlal Nehru called the Objectives Resolution. Does this government know? Out of the 11 sittings of the Constituent Assembly, 6 of the sittings were devoted to the Objectives Resolution and not to this draft. A majority of the discussions in the Constituent Assembly was on the objectives put forward by Jawaharlal Nehru. And sir, that is our history. Yes, the victor always scripts the history. But here the victor is also trying to change the past history. Now this is a history we have inherited. Like the leader of the house, I was also born after independence, sir. I think many of us were born after independence. And for all of us, this is inherited history. This is our legacy. You can't now tamper with that history and tell us a new history. Now, why this Constitution Day? I can only come to the conclusion that this is an attempt to try and worm their way into the national movement when they had no role to play at all.
Yes, no role.
And this is the way they want to worm themselves into the national movement. And how they want to worm themselves, I want to know. How is this order given, sir? A gazette notification saying that it has been decided to celebrate 26th day of November every year as the Constitution Day. Gazette notification. Here, if you want, I'll place it on record. Notification in the Indian Gazette dated 19th of November.
By which ministry asked this?
Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Does the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment decide a national day to be observed every year, sir?
As per the Constitution.
As far as I know, running of the Constitution, running of the government. Yes, I've noticed the minister coming in here. Honorable HRD minister was a good friend before she became a minister. After that, she doesn't have time. And she's got very onerous responsibilities. But I just want to know, Gazette notification comes on 19th. Her ministry, HRD ministry, gives a circular to the schools on the 10th. On the 10th of November, a circular from the HRD ministry goes to the school saying, observe 26th as the Constitution Day. And this is the Gazette on the 19th. What is happening, sir? Items in Indian politics. That is the only thing I can say. Events. You have event management. You want to worm into the national movement when you had no role. And then, here you say, I'm sorry, you had no role, and then, here you say, sir, that worming in. That apart from the events, etc., I like to say, sir, here and put it on record. And put it on record, the fact that often we are heard, and we will hear also, I'm sure in the course of this discussion also, about the role of the communists, etc., in the freedom struggle. That's an old charge. But may I, please.
मैं केवल इतना कहना चाहता हूं कि सीताराम जी का जो इसमें आपत्ति है कि नेशनल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल डे क्यों मनाया जा रहा है, मैं केवल उसको जानकारी के लिए सुन लीजिए। अभी तक 26 तारीख को 26 नवंबर को नेशनल लॉ डे के रूप में मनाया जाता रहा है, और अगर हम जो है वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डे के रूप में उसे मना रहे हैं तो हम मना रहे हैं, इस पे कोई आपत्ति किसी को नहीं। हम अपने संविधान निर्माताओं को अगर याद कर रहे हैं, उनके प्रति हम सम्मान व्यक्त कर रहे हैं, बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर के प्रति नतमस्तक होकर के ये सदन अगर जो है नहीं अपने को बता रहा है तो इसमें किसी की आपत्ति हो सकती है।
सर, you have to protect. Yes, please. In the name of clarification, he can't give his own interpretation.
Please proceed.
कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डे कई बार बनाओ, भीमराव अंबेडकर साहब को श्रद्धांजलि हम बनाएंगे, सलाम देंगे, देते रहे, देंगे, लेकिन अब ये बताइए ये नया दिवस आप खोज के क्या निकाले, इसके कोई आपत्ति नहीं है। हम ये दिवस खोज के आपने जो निकाला उसकी पृष्ठभूमि हम बता रहे, बता रहे क्योंकि राष्ट्रीय आंदोलन में भूमिका नहीं था, उस भूमिका को जुड़वाने के लिए आप ये बोलना चाहते हैं, और ये सर
He is not yielding. He is not yielding. Are you yielding? Sri Yechuri, are you yielding?
No.
He is not yielding. He is not yielding. He is not yielding. He has to yield. If he yield, he is not. He told us that he is not yielding. बैठे। तरुण जी, मेंबर स्पीकिंग यील्ड करना है, नहीं यील्ड करते हैं। तरुण जी बैठिए, तरुण जी बैठिए।
सर,
नो प्लीज, सर, नो,
सर,
तरुण जी, you have when you are saying तरुण जी, no, this reply, no, please, sir, no, please, तरुण जी, nothing going on record. He's not going on record. Tarun ji, sit down. No, those who want to reply to, no, one second. Those who want to reply to the points Yechuri is raising, you can do it when your turn comes. Don't interrupt him. Please.
Sir, क्योंकि,
Deputy Chairman, sir, whatever has been said, because otherwise that would be contested and challenged, that must not go on the record, because he has not yielded. This house has to be governed as per the rules of this house. This is our request, because otherwise what has been said will be contested here and now, because that is a false statement.
Sir, I accept the challenge.
No, sit down. So, okay. No, please. Sir, please. Tarun, please. Tarun, don't do that. Okay, sit down. Tarun,
sir,
okay, please.
सर, अब देखिए, अब आप बोल रहे हो श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी साहब के बारे में,
बता देते हैं।
हम कहेंगे, आप जरा सब्र कीजिए तरुण विजय जी, आपने कई सारे सवाल पूछे, यहाँ भी बाहर भी, इसको जवाब देने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। अब यहाँ पे हमारी पृष्ठभूमि के बारे में आपने सवाल उठाया कि कम्युनिस्टों का जो है या आपका जो है, मैं आपको दो चीजें पढ़ के सुना दूं सिर्फ, सर, एंड प्लीज डोंट डिडक्ट माय टाइम फॉर ऑल दिस इंटरप्शन फ्रॉम माय थिंग एंड स्टार्ट प्रेसिंग द बेल, डोंट डू दैट। आई एम हियर से, सर, the Bombay Home Department, British, 1942, during the Quit India movement, observed, quote, The Sangh has scrupulously kept itself within the law and in particular has refrained from taking part in the disturbances that broke out in August 1942. Unquote. Unquote. This is the record of the British Army. Now you made a, Mr. Tarun Jay made a charge against the communists. ये भी सुन लीजिए सर. अरे ये भी सुन लीजिए. ये भी सुन लीजिए. उसके बारे में हमें सर हमारे माननीय महामहिम राष्ट्रपति भारत के 1992 में एक स्पेशल सेशन सेंट्रल हॉल में हुआ था रात के 12 बजे. उस 12 बजे सेंट्रल हॉल में जो हुआ था स्पेशल सेशन 1942 का 50वां सालगिरह, वहां पर बोलते हुए महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी शंकर दयाल शर्मा जी, उन्होंने अपनी भाषण में जो यहां पे रिकॉर्ड में मौजूद है कम्युनिस्टों के बारे में जो कहा, ये पढ़ के सुना रहा हूं. Quote, after large scale strikes in mills in Kanpur, Jamshedpur and Ahmedabad, a dispatch from Delhi dated September 5, 1942 to the Secretary of State, London, reported about the Communist Party of India, their behavior of many of its members. Then it says, quote, the behavior of many of its members, Communist Party's members, proves what has been clear, namely, Communist Party is composed of anti-British revolutionaries, unquote. This is the President of India telling this in the Indian Parliament in the Central Hall. अब तो बंद करिए साहब ये इल्जाम. अब मैं बताऊं आपको.
You speak in your turn. He speaks. You speak in your turn. He speaks the record. And he has a right to record every speaker. We cannot even seek a clarity.
You raise it. I'll raise one more thing. And आपको आपत्ति हो रही है सर, मैंने से worm into श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी साहब का नाम लिया. भले नेता थे वो, नेहरू के कैबिनेट में थे, वहां से उन्होंने इस्तीफा दिया. वो खोज रहे थे एक राजनीतिक पार्टी बनाने के लिए. आप बताइए, आप आरएसएस के रिकॉर्ड्स में ये बात है कि नहीं कि जब वो खोज रहे थे एक नया पार्टी बनाने के लिए, आपके गुरु गोलवलकर साहब ने 4 स्वयंसेवकों को भेजा श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी के पास कि आप एक नया राजनीतिक पार्टी बनाए. और कौन थे साहब ये? आप ही की रिकॉर्ड, मैं नहीं करूं. वो रिकॉर्ड में कौन थे? दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी, एल.के. अद्वानी जी, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी और श्याम सुंदर भंडारी जी. इन चारों को आपने भेजा. चारों को आपने भेजा श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी साहब को मदद देने के लिए, पार्टी बनाने के लिए. और यह हुआ तक जब सरदार पटेल ने अपने कम्युनिके में ये कहा था, बैन किया था आरएसएस को महात्मा गांधी की हत्या के बाद. वो जो बैन हुआ था, उस बैन से वापस निकलने के लिए कई सारे शर्त लगाए थे सरदार पटेल ने. उनमें से एक शर्त था कि आरएसएस राजनीति में हिस्सा नहीं लेगी, और वो राजनीति में हिस्सा ना लेने की वजह से एक राजनीतिक अंग चाहिए था. और वो अंग उस समय बना था जनसंघ, जिसका आज का अवतार है आप सभी लोग भाजपा. तो आप ये मत करिए वर्मिंग योर वे इनटू द नेशनल मूवमेंट की बात में कही, उसे आपत्ति जताया आपने. तो ये तो इसलिए सर, आई एम सॉरी. तो चलिए सर, इन बातों को जोड़िए. जो अब आप जो कहने वाला हूं, हमारे माननीय नेता इस हाउस के, उन्होंने कई सारी बातें कही. उन्होंने कहा था कि कुछ अंश पढ़ के सुनाया. He read out Article 44 of the Constitution, sir, which deals with it. I have the copy of the Constitution, and this is a copy that belongs to the chambers. So you can't accuse me of any personal copy, which I fudged copy.
You think there are different copies of Constitution? Different.
No, they may accuse me. they may accuse me. So I'm reading out only from the chambers copy, so that even that is assuaged. So you don't ask me for authentication. It's marked chambers copy. So it says, yes, state shall endeavor to secure its citizen uniform civil code. It was quoted. It was also quoted on the question of organization of agricultural animal husbandry. I pointed out then that these are directive principles of state policy. but in the directive principles which are not justiciable and enforceable. And these directive principles also have the other things, which is not quoted. What do they say? That the state shall promote with special care the educational and economic interests of the weaker sections of the people. What did Baba Sahib Ambedkar say? The same thing? That is 46th article. That's 47. The state shall regard the raising of the level of nutrition and standard of living. Isn't it a shame that the largest number of children today malnutrition are in India? Isn't it a shame today? Most of the majority of the stunted children in the world are from India today. This is the constitutional directive, Article 47. What has been done? You only pick and choose what you want to do it, and that is where the suspicion comes. What is your actual motive? And sir, here in article, I'll say in the section on fundamental duties that are supposed to be enforceable, the section on fundamental duties, you please look at your copy in your hand, sir. Article 51A. It shall be the duty of every citizen of India. What does it say, sir? That if you read, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Is the composite culture what we are preserving, sir? I'll come to that again. And what does 51A? H says, sir, to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. Scientific temper, sir. If we hear that Lord Ganesha was the creation of plastic surgery, or Karna in the Mahabharata was the creation of stent technology in test tube babies, is that scientific temper, sir? And it comes from no less than the Honorable Prime Minister. What is happening? What are you implementing? What are you wanting to implement and what not? You are only reviving the hardcore Hindutva agenda. Cow protection, you wanting to revive. Then the entire question of equality of all citizens to liberty and life. He's quoted article, this was 35, no? What was it? He said he's not here unfortunately, so I can't request him also. He's quoted this article 30 to say that, I mean, you can also help me, sir, finding that clause, and saying that these are contradicted by articles 29 and 30. Now, article 15, the state shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds of only religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. Article 15, fundamental rights. And it says article 29 and 30 are in contradiction. Sir, any right, any lawyer would know, any right always comes with what is called reasonable restrictions. There is no right, and I hope Mr. Parasaran is here, yes. There is no right which does not come with reasonable restrictions. The reasonable restrictions to Article 15 have been detailed in an article in the Constitution, 29 and 30, where the rights of the minorities to the religion, and minorities here meaning not only religious, but language, linguistic minorities. So they said this is a contradiction, don't we want to remove it? What would Dr. Ambedkar say today if he's talking about this contradiction? If the Constitution, he would say precisely the same thing. He would say precisely the same thing, that the duties of a citizen would be the spread of tolerance and not the spread of any one particular intolerant point of view. And that is the bone of contention today, sir, where you heard, I heard in the, I read in the media, the Honorable Home Minister saying that secularism is the word that was injected into the Constitution, and therefore, that is the cause of all problems. It is also referred to, I believe, poor old Amir Khan, our actor, is getting lampooned. He said Ambedkar did not leave the country, But he stayed here and struggled, and that is what Amir Khan also said, sir. Oh man, he didn't say that he's leaving. I am glad he's staying in struggle, and then you accuse them saying that left is sponsoring all that. Thank you for putting all those people with us. Our tribe is increasing. that you are doing it. But anyway, but remember, Ambedkar did not leave the country. He was a patriot. But Ambedkar renounced Hinduism and embraced Buddhism. You remember that? You remember that? And why was it? That is where the intolerance issue comes in. And sir, these are matters again of history you cannot erase. And if you want the question of intolerance, take the same speech that the Honorable Leader was quoting of Ambedkar on 25th November.
Speak now.
Same speech. And what did Dr. Ambedkar say?
One today.
He was talking about history will repeat itself. Will we lose our independence again? Honorable Leader of the House quoted that. After that, he didn't quote the rest of it. What does it say, sir? I'm quoting from that speech of Dr. Ambedkar. Will history repeat itself? Question mark. That is, will we lose our independence once again? Will Indians place the country above their creed? Or will they place creed above the country? I did not know. If, as the Leader of the House said, if Dr. Ambedkar was here today, what would he say? He wouldn't pose this question. He'll say Indians are being forced to place the creed above the country. And that is the intolerance that is happening in the country today. And then what does Dr. Ambedkar say? But this much is certain. This is the speech, sir, which was quoted in the morning. But this much is certain. If the parties place creed above country, our independence will be put in jeopardy a second time. After all the instances he gave, which was quoted by the leader, will be put in a jeopardy a second time and probably be lost forever. This eventuality we must all resolutely guard against. We must be determined to defend our independence with the last drop of our blood. Today, when I stand up against this intolerance, I'm doing exactly what Dr. Ambedkar asked us to do. Anybody who wants to say what Ambedkar said must be done, will do exactly what Dr. Ambedkar asked us to do, that is, raise themselves against this sort of intolerance. This is the same Ambedkar in the same speech. And then we heard the question of social justice. The essential point of Dr. Ambedkar is missed out. I've quoted this a number of times in this August House, sir. But I can't stop myself from quoting this again, that I'll quote it in the full. This is the point that I'll come to. I'll quote it in the full. It says, on 26th of January 1950, please note, once again, Constitution Day, the Republic Day, the 26th of January 1950, we are going to enter into a life of contradictions. In politics, we will give equality, and in social and economic life, we will have inequality. In politics, we will be recognizing the principle of one man, one vote, one value. In our social and economic life, we shall, by reason of our social and economic structure, continue to deny the principle of one man, one value. That is the contradiction. And then he continues to say what? If we continue to deny it for long, we will do so only by putting our political democracy in peril. We must remove this contradiction at the earliest, or else those who suffer from this inequality will blow up the structure of political democracy that this assembly hath so laboriously built. Unquote. There is Dr. Ambedkar in the same speech. What is the situation today? 100 multi-billionaires in our country, whose asset value is close to 1/2 of my country's GDP. And according to the latest census, 90% of the households in my country today have an income of less than 10,000 rupees a month. Is this contradiction being resolved, or are we only accentuating further? And are we discussing issues on how we should reduce the gap in this contradiction? Instead, every foreign trip, we find a new concession to foreign capital. 15 areas now that have been opened up to FDI. Free trade agreements that will ruin our domestic cultivation of commercial crops. Your agrarian distress is growing. Farmers are committing suicides. Your industrial production index, this government's own statistics, this month has shown a drop from 6% to close to 3%. Manufacturing to 2.4%, from over 6%. Industry stagnating or declining. Agrarian distress deepening. And Har Har Modi, Har Har Mahadev, sorry, I withdraw those words. अब वो कहने दो ना, यहाँ पे फिर हमें इल्जाम लगाएंगे। ये हर हर महादेव की जगह लोग अब जो है शिव जी को प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं, हर हर महादेव, दाल तो मिल जाए। हर हर का दाल 200 रुपए मुर्गे से मांगी। घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर नहीं है सर, अब घर का दाल मुर्गी बराबर। अब ये हालत कर दी। अब इस पे कोई चर्चा है? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन दिवस का मतलब क्या है? द सोशल जस्टिस विजन ऑफ डॉक्टर अंबेडकर, वेयर आर वी? SCs and SCs, their subplans, their reservations, the atrocities on them I have mentioned. On the question of these growing inequalities, the conditions of our people, what is this contradiction? That you see the reality? Are we paying homage to Dr. Ambedkar, sir? Is this the way modern India is actually fulfilling that vision of social justice? Forget our political parties. Forget which party I belong to, which party you belong to. As an Indian today, when you're talking about these things, are we being honest to ourselves? Are we doing what Ambedkar and all that generation, Nehru, Gandhi, Abul Kalam Azad, Sardar Patel, that whole generation that gave us this independence, this freedom, this constitution, what they have exhorted all of us to do? Are we doing it? And you say, I reaffirm my faith in the Constitution? Without that reaffirming the faith, you won't be here, as I told you. What is this reaffirming the faith? And now you come to the other, federalism. Federalism, what did Dr. Ambedkar say, sir?
Try to conclude.
Yeah, but how can I conclude federalism and tolerance and all that, sir? And that is what the government is doing, you say conclude. Huh? Now, in the federalism, in the federalism structure, sir, the center-state relations, what did Dr. Ambedkar say? He was talking about that the center and the states are co-equal in this matter. I'm talking from his speech, same speech. It is difficult to see how such a constitution can be called centralism. That is, the basic principle of federalism is the legislative and executive authorities partitioned between the center and the states, not by any law to be made by the center, but by the constitution itself. That is the sacrosancy of this constitution. Is that principle of federalism followed, sir? You were talking about 356 article, misuse of that. There's only one part of it. We were the first victims of 356. Kerala government way back in 1950s.
Yes.
I don't know how many were born here. Again a victim, second time in the 1960s. Twice a victim in Bengal in 67 and 69. Yeah, I know. That's what. Honorable Mr. Anthony is here. He was the hero of one of the
Kerala, we fought against you.
No.
We fought against you. 57, we fought against you.
From the chair, you don't say we fought against you. That you don't say. Anyway, remove that from the record.
Yeah, okay.
But sir, all that apart, so what is federalism? Not merely equality, that independent respect of the states. Are we granting it today? Then you talked of the judiciary, sir. let me tell you what Dr. Ambedkar said about the judiciary is very, very interesting, sir. I'll quote from the same speech. Courts may modify, they cannot replace. Please note. Courts may modify, they cannot replace. They can revise earlier interpretations as new arguments, new points of view are presented. They can shift the dividing line in marginal cases. But there are barriers they cannot pass. Definite assignments of power they cannot reallocate. They can give a broadening construction of existing powers, but they cannot assign to one authority powers explicitly granted to another. Unquote. The separation and the complementarity of the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, the hallmark of our constitutions. And now this is as far as your judiciary is concerned. But what worries me about it, you're paying homage to Dr. Ambedkar. Remember, sir, in 1950, 1946 to 1950, what was the condition of the world? Millions of people were under colonial subjugation. When these countries became independent, what we did in India is actually a revolutionary step then. We granted universal adult suffrage, which nobody else of these countries granted. Europe did not grant, or even the United States of America. President Obama came here, all of us were very excited in the Central Hall, on both sides. Everybody was saying, wow, President Obama came here. And then he wrote in our what is called the Golden Book. There is no gold in that book, but what is called the Golden Book of our Parliament. He wrote, greetings from the world's oldest democracy to the world's largest. This was his message. If my memory, I think is right. This is the message he gave. I had to point out to him later that evening at the president's banquet. I said, sir, I think this is the wrong definition that you are the world's oldest democracy. He said, why? He said, sir, you got the right to vote, that is American Africans. You got the right to vote universally in the United States of America in 1962, 1 year after you were born. The universality of adult franchise in the United States of America came only in 1962. In India, we gave it in 1950. Whether you're a Dalit, you're a landlord, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Hindu, we gave it in 1950. And today, sir, what is happening? Today, what is happening? In Haryana, 86% of the people will be kept out of their right to vote and right to contest elections because of the various conditions the state government has said, unless you fulfill these conditions, you cannot contest or you cannot vote. In Rajasthan, you put conditions whereby more than half the people are excluded from this universal suffrage. In Gujarat, you have said unless you have a toilet, a pakka toilet in your house, you cannot vote or contest in local elections. This, and where all these three states have got a BJP state government. You come here to pay homage to Dr. Ambedkar. And the one important thing that has been done by the Indian Constitution of universal adult suffrage, you deny to people in the states which have a state government that is led by the BJP. I know you will press the bell, but the point is that you please consider all these things. The ruling benches are empty. I don't know who will convey what to whom tomorrow when the reply comes or on Monday. But,
Are there?
Sir,
Ministers are
Sir.
there. They will do it.
Sir, I sympathize with my friend Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi. How much burden can he carry, sir? How much can he go and report upstairs saying that this is all has been said, you please answer? And even the officers have deserted the officials' block. So, I mean, I don't know if anybody is taking note of all this. Fine, I mean, we understand many of these things, they ignore us normally. But sir, since you are pressing the bell, let me come down to my final points. That they made an interesting and a very interesting reference to the Third Reich and Germany. Wonderful, sir. We are happy, and I must pay my gratitude to the leader of the House for having reminded me of the Third Reich and Germany and the dangers of authoritarianism. So in 1939, when the debate in the country was going on on what should be the character of independent India, there was a book which was not thought it would be very important, but a book which had a very, very important implication for Indian politics and India's future. And that was a book called We or Our Nationhood Defined by Madhav Sadashiv Golwalkar. It's called the RSS Guru. And since the leader of the opposition mentioned the Third Reich, I'm sorry, not the leader of the House mentioned the Third Reich. I only want to quote from that book about the Third Reich. That book says, we or our nationhood means who is we? In Hindi, Swaraj. Swa ka matlab kya hai? Kiska raj hai? Hum kaun hai? Hum ek Hindu rashtra hai. That is the entire import of that book. उस समय हिटलर के बारे में चर्चा करते हुए जर्मनी के बारे में he talked that saying that only Hindus and Hindus alone are inhabitants of this country. And then what does he say about the Third Reich, sir? I'm quoting. To keep up the purity of the race and its culture, Germany shocked the world by her purging the country of the Semitic races, the Jews. I'll stop, take a break here, sir, for a moment. You please draw the parallels in India. Who is that instead of the Jews? And who is that for the race and the culture and its purity? I continue with the quote. Race pride at its highest has been.
Which book you are quoting?
Sir, he's...
No.
My good friend,
you say which book you are quoting? You say.
Sir, my good friend VP Singh may not be so much in tune with the RSS. He is a BJP member, a BJP MP. But the name of the book is We or Our Nationhood Defined. I am quoting from page number 35. Book published in 1939 by Bharat Prakashan, republished by Bharat Prakashan, second edition again in 1944. That is the authenticity. The book must be available in the library if it is not already removed. I mean, they have this habit also of removing all these books. It's already, but otherwise this book should be in the Parliament Library. Otherwise, I'll help you, give you a copy. Now, in this book, page number 35, I repeat that quote. To keep up the purity of the race and its culture, Germany shocked the world by her purging the country of the Semitic races, the Jews. Race pride at its highest has been manifested here. Germany has also shown how well-nigh impossible it is for races and cultures, having differences going to the root, to be assimilated into one united whole. A good lesson for us. Please understand. A good.
We can't do it. What is wrong with it?
He's not telling wrong. He's not telling wrong.
Sir.
You're not telling us wrong. He's not telling it wrong, VP.
Sir, let me complete.
You will get chance. You can reply. I will give you chance.
Sir,
You can reply. You can reply to that. You will get your chance. You can reply to that. Yes.
Where have been...
You say he is misinterpreting. You will get chance. Then you correct it. Okay. You will get chance.
I am quoting verbatim.
Okay. You could.
And if you want, shall I re-quote?
No need.
Interrupting
It's
you.
all on record. You proceed.
You followed so far?
Yeah.
Huh? Then where have I stopped? It says a good lesson for us.
Also. No
Let me
time,
complete
no
this
time.
quote. One sentence. A good lesson for us in Hindustan to learn and profit by. Unquote.
Now try to conclude.
This is the Third Reich that the Honorable Leader of the House was reminding us.
This is wrong. That's
And this is exactly what
please
this
conclude.
Hindu Rashtra is all about, sir. And that is why, sir, if you want to pay homage to and our Shraddhanjali to Dr. Ambedkar, please remember what he said in this speech finally. That he said, without equality, irrespective of caste, creed, sex, whatever you may have. And about creed, what he said, I quoted to you. Without equality, you cannot have liberty. Without fraternity, you cannot have equality and liberty. Without equality and fraternity, fraternity means sadbhavana also. Without equality and fraternity, you cannot have liberty. If you are celebrating India's freedom and its liberty, equality and fraternity are two things on which there can be no compromise with.
Okay.
And that is precisely what is being compromised. Please, sir, that is precisely what is being compromised in this entire furtherance of atmosphere of intolerance. And finally, let me end the quote by quoting Dr. Rajendra Prasad when he was about to put his signature on this draft. When he was about to put his signature on this draft, the future President of India, he was not yet President of India. He became President of India only on the 26th of January. And then the national movement said the Governor General, Dr. Rajagopalachari, he said the Governor General cannot administer an oath to our President because Governor General is an appointee of the British. So the Chief Justice was called in this Central Hall. Chief Justice was summoned, called, and he administered the oath. And after that, Dr. Rajendra Prasad administers the oath for an interim government. Adopts this constitution, administers the oath, and directs that under this new constitution, fresh elections be held after delimitation is completed, and that election was held in 1952. And today when we hear, sir, Sardar Patel was denied from being India's first Prime Minister. Unfortunately, poor Sardar died in 1950. 50. First election was 1952. Is it understood? Is it understood, sir? No, if there's some magic and some tantra through which, like Lord Ganesha, you can create somebody, who's dead and gone, unfortunately, to be the Prime Minister, I can understand. But anyway, that apart, what did Dr. Rajendra Prasad say? I'm quoting this and ending, sir, please. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, in his address, hailing that we adopted this constitution, says what? After all, a constitution like a machine is a lifeless thing. It acquires life because of the men who control it and operate it. And India needs today nothing more than a set of honest men who will have the interest of the country before them. I'm sure Dr. Rajendra Prasad and Dr. Ambedkar, when they talked about men, they included the women also. So please don't take offense. I'm sure at that time women were also part of it. So they said, what India needs today is nothing more than a set of honest men and will have the interest of the country before them. Interest of the country before them. There is a vociferous tendency arising out of various elements in our life. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, 1949, November 26th. We have communal differences, caste differences, language differences, provincial differences, and so forth. It requires men of strong character, men of vision, men who will not sacrifice the interests of the country at large for the sake of smaller groups and areas, who will rise over the prejudices which are born of these differences. We can only hope that the country will throw up such men in abundance. Unquote.
Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Is that the case? I rest my case by asking you the question. What we are seeing today, have we produced such men within abundance? If not, I think it's time to correct now, sir. If you want to pay actual reaffirmation to a constitution and pay our homage to Dr. Ambedkar, please don't okay me here, sir. You'll also have a part of it.
Yes.
All of us will have to. All of us will have to sincerely pay homage to this vision. And that is what we need to do. Thank you very much for giving me this time.
Thank you very much.